I think everyone is assembled, yes.
Okay, we'll get started. I'll call this meeting of the Jamestown City Council work session for Monday, May 5th to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Sheldon.
Here.
Brackman.
Here.
Ruba.
Here.
Ramos.
Present.
Hoffman.
Here.
Russell.
Here.
Ursa.
Here.
Eklund.
Here.
President Vogel.
Here, thank you.
You able to keep the door open?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep it
Yes,
open,
there.
yeah.
At this time, we will give the public a chance to address the council. If you'd like to address the council, please state your name and address and limit your remarks to 5 minutes. Anyone? Go ahead. Yep.
Gary Mooney, public entertainer. Moved into Jamestown about 5 years ago. My address is 110 West 3rd Street, Hotel Jamestown. I would like to request an appointment with our community planner, Crystal Sertic, late in the week to discuss what possible methods I might perform for the city of Jamestown. I have been essentially locked out of the Whirlybird Festival, and I would like to have an appointment, maybe 15 minutes with you late in the week, where I would provide you with the documentation to support this claim. I would like to find an independent venue which would support my services, and I would like to brainstorm with the city and corporate venues for this possibility. I do a family show, a clean show, and I think a very entertaining show. I would like to share this with the populace, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the council?
Melissa Petterday, 346 Faulkner Street. I didn't get a chance to go to the housing committee meeting, so I wanted to bring it to the whole council. A friend of mine currently lives in a house on 5 Hammond Street. She moved in the house with her disabled son over a month and a half ago, and there are so many code violations in the house. Currently, there's a fox in the basement,
Wow.
and no one's helping her. She's contacted the city. Bronson did come over, but then she got a call today from Jan and basically said that it was her responsibility in so many words. And I don't appreciate that. I think that that is not all right. This person is not only trying to take care of her son that just had 2 major surgeries on his foot, but is in a wheelchair. And I do have some pictures. I thought that I had gotten them printed at Walgreens, but unfortunately I must have not hit the button correctly. There's a hole in the floor where they have to go in and out the door. So if he falls through that hole, because they had to gut the front of the porch because it was full of mold underneath, inside, outside. I think the house had a total of 5 to 7 violations. It had baseboard heaters that weren't even connected to the wall. This house was This house was busted for drugs in 2021. It had $2,300 worth of cash, 33.8 ounces of cocaine, 183 bags of fentanyl, 5.5 grams of fentanyl in another baggie, a gun stolen from PA, and that house was empty until 2023 when someone from Hawaii bought 8 properties through a real estate agent in our city. And I think that this is where the city council, the director of development, the mayor, and everyone needs to collaborate to figure out how the city of Jamestown can stop letting this happen. Now it's affecting my life, my friend. I can't even go to her house because it stinks so bad, like a dead animal. And I think that it is ridiculous that no one's helping her. I know that maybe it's not your job or her job, but man, this had been going on for over a month, and what's the solution? And then to let these people, this house sat empty, and then was purchased by people in Hawaii. And Bronson told her that they would give them a 2-week letter. Well, Heather Canale is running that house. And the only thing that she's done is call and say, where's the rent? Really? What about how, hey, we're sending over someone to take care of the fox in the wall? A fox got in the house while it was empty, died in the wall trying to get out, and now it is stuck in there. And my friend is breathing this in along with her disabled son. And I really hope that I could have got here to the housing committee meeting to do this, to talk and sit down at a table instead of say this publicly. And I truly don't believe that Heather had any ill intentions by renting this property and becoming a project, property manager for these people. But this is happening all the time. This has been happening for years and years and years, and it's still happening. The real estate agent is selling these houses to whoever, and as long as they're not condemned, they get away with selling them with 5 to 7 code violations. And I'm mad. I'm truly mad, frustrated, and hoping that I can get some help from my friend somehow, some way, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council?
Melissa Porter, 44 Sanford Drive. I just want to take a moment. I'm not going to belabor our lifting of the hiring freeze for our fire department. I just want to thank Councilman Reynolds, Councilman Dulce, and Councilwoman Brackman for stopping by this evening on Tracy Plaza as our fire department and community members gathered in support of creating a safer Jamestown and using the $1.8 million to hire those 8 additional firefighters to bring us to full staffing. Your just presence in that plaza today really meant a great deal to everyone who was gathered there this evening, and I just want to publicly thank you for showing up for our community today in that way.
Anyone else who would like to address the council?
I just want your permission. May I get some chairs for these fine people? So maybe we could create some more seating, because I think everyone,
Do we have any more?
there's a couple in the hallway.
Yeah, whatever.
Is that, I just
There's
didn't want to
some here.
interrupt. I wanted your
We'll take
permission.
a couple of- No, you're fine.
Thank you, President.
If you need to address, bring yours.
Yeah.
Anyone who'd like to address the council? Nick, just give us your name and address and then.
Hi, I'm Lucas Torres Carvella, and I am from 104 Bowen Street.
Hi, my name is Alexander Pitts, and I'm a Fruesburg native, 882 Page Road.
We're here on behalf of the Chautauqua County Youth Climate Initiative, and we are here to ask the council to vote and pass the Climate Smart Communities Pledge. So this involves 10 steps, the first being building a climate smart community, inventorying emissions, setting goals, and planning for climate action, decreasing energy use, shifting to clean, renewable energy, using climate smart material management,
Implementing climate smart land use, enhancing community resilience to climate change, supporting a green innovation economy, informing and inspiring the public, and engaging in an evolving process of climate action. And affirming these pledges, you would have to take action, which involves designating a coordinator, forming a task force, conducting audits, inventories, assessments, and other various tasks.
Climate change is real. It is happening whether you acknowledge it or not. It is threatening our future, whether you ignore it or not. Our community should not be kept in the dark in these very real issues, and they should be able to participate in the solution.
We implore that you join the 377 communities and 9.7 million New Yorkers pledging to make a change in their own towns and cities. These communities include Sherman, Little Valley, Ellicottville, Portville, Hamburg, Eden, Springville, Cuba, Angola, among many others.
Regarding costs, you cannot put a price on our future. The changes regarding our climate are undeniable and scientifically proven, and action is required to ensure the safety and security of future generations. In addition, there is no set budget, and the community can collaborate with the government to determine how much we are willing to put forth for this action.
We, the Chautauqua County Youth Climate Initiative, were founded for the purpose of educating our community and helping to decrease our carbon footprint as a county. We see these actions as an opportunity an opportunity to secure a cleaner community and show people how to save our planet. This is your chance to join what science has shown us for years and prove that you are allies of our generation's future.
You have a chance to be a part of history, to put Jamestown ahead. Society is becoming renewable. Actions such as these are inevitable. If you don't take action now, we will fall behind. Be a part of the change, don't prevent progress.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council?
My name is Doug Champ. I live at 225 Bond Street in Jamestown, New York. I come here tonight with kind of like a perplexing aspect of what the question in front of us is about public safety and its future.
Stop the clock.
I'm not never lost from it. The issue, it's an easy one if you look at the economics of the question here in front of us, is that why not do this and get it done? That's an easy question regarding $1.8 million, but here's the problem. What do you do when the money's gone? That's critical, because this is what City Council has to do. They have to decide, not on today, not on tomorrow, but years from now. Does anybody here know, the City Council does, what the constitutional taxing limit is? In other words, that's the most that the city can have you pay taxes on. We're very close, we're going down. But here's what happens. Is that if expenditures don't equal revenue, services have to be cut. That's the way it works in government. You don't have the money, you can't do the game. For all the record that you all don't know me, is that I spent 35 years, 10 in department development, 25 years at the BPU, and studied the fire department's future. Got money to study what the future of public safety is going to be. How do we afford it? How do we do it? For the record, how many firemen do we have now?
55.
You're getting 4 more through the American Rescue Plan, which, by the way, I advocated for strongly, and nobody else was here to support that. That includes them?
Yes.
So then the additional 8 would bring you to 72.
62.
Did you say 65? I'm sorry. How many do you have now?
55.
55 now. Okay. How many of those live in the city?
Probably 22 of them, off the top of my head.
Okay, here's a quandary. We want people who live in the city to pay taxes. But you've got your fire department, 75% live outside the city. They can do that. But if they lived inside the city, they would actually be helping you pay for their salary. The mayor wants employees to come and live in the city. I assume he would like firemen to live in the city, is that right? You nod your head, is that correct?
Sure, we'd love all employees to live in the city.
So now here's what happens. We have $1.8 million, we spend it, and I'll spend it, I don't care, hire 20 new firemen. But my problem is this, because I've seen it happen before, is that we can't afford things down the road. So what are we gonna do then, when we can't afford the firemen? Do we lay them off? Do we send them pink slips? The fire chief is doing a great job. Firemen, don't get me wrong here now, folks. I spent a lot of time arguing for public safety, gun violence, all of it. But I want everybody to understand that the city council is doing their job, fiduciary responsibility. What do they do, just pass on stuff? And expect it all to be financially stable? They can't do that, that's not part of their job. So yeah, the easy answer to this is just vote it in and wait to see what happens. In addition to that, any grant, I used to be a grant writer, requires an investment on what cost is going to be incurred locally after you get the grant. That's in kind, that's leveraging costs, that's ministerial costs, that's additional costs that is not foreseen. So in any grant you go after, there should be a financial impact assessment of what that is. Why? Because it's for not just now, it's for later too. We can't not ignore financial stability for this community. As I said, the last time the city of Jamestown had a population increase was 1950. 1950. What is it now? A little over 25,000. We want people to come to the city, and public safety is critical for that. I'm not disacknowledging that. But all I want to say to the public is when the money runs out, what do you want to cut? Parks? Public works? Police? What do you want to cut? So it's a quick fix that works for all of us. I'm all for that. But I want to present something that I think is valid, that you need to understand the dynamics of the future. If you're going to do this, then I would suggest also that we have a public safety study of the future applications of public safety, police and fire in the future. When we can afford manpower, equipment, everything. You can't do one without the other.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to address the council?
Sure. Seth Viticus, 6 Hammond Street. Speaking on behalf of members from Patriots for Chautauqua County and surrounding areas. We are in support of the Safer Grant and lifting the hiring freeze. We acknowledge this grant will not solve many of the problems in Jamestown, but it's a start. Hiring more firefighters will help reduce the strain on the staff already overworked and speed up response time. We acknowledge this grant is limited. It will still require additional costs from the city to cover, especially when it runs out in 3 years. We suggest the city council to work with the community and local businesses to find solutions to the difficult financial problems. Working on how we will fund these new additional firefighters, their training and gear won't be cheap or easy, but it is vital to our city's future. As much it would be ideal to send every recruit to a fancy top-of-the-line academy, we need to be selective with our money. Send the team leaders to the fancy academy and train the rest locally. That will keep money in the area. Now, investing in a local academy and training gear will save the city a fortune in years to come. Creating a fire safety pact with local businesses and organizations with monthly payments will go to funding the Jamestown Fire Department. Will go a long way since our taxes are already at the max. Having the community chipping in with the businesses, business partnerships, fire safety packs, fundraisers, events hosted for the fire department will help ease the financial problem for the city council. Landlords and tenants must step up, and they must do their part to reduce the fire hazards in their houses. More fire awareness campaigns in both schools and locally will help lower the fires, and this will help reduce our overworked firefighters. If the hiring freeze remains and the safety grant denied, we invite everyone to contact Patriots for Chautauqua County and surrounding areas on Facebook where we can find solutions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I went. Douglas Lawson. I just want to remind everyone that government is not a business. Financial is very important, but it's not everything, especially when we're given 3 years for city council to figure out how to either afford these firefighters or decide what needs to happen after that. Regular everyday citizens are not to decide what services need to be cut. And we all want a safer Jamestown. With the amount of fires we have all the time, we need more firefighters. We should not be holding on to volunteers and overworked people to run into these burning houses to save people. It's disgusting.
Anyone else? Seeing none, just a couple of announcements, just so you know the timeline. First of all, thank you everybody for coming tonight and voicing opinions. And the timeline is we have tonight's work session. It was on the agenda for finance. We'll briefly discuss that if there's any questions that come up. We have another work session next Monday, and then on Tuesday we will be calling a special meeting. I talked to the mayor earlier about they met with members of FEMA last week and discussed, the council had put together a list of concerns and questions about the grant that they submitted to FEMA. FEMA then is compiling that. We're going to meet with them next Tuesday via Zoom here at 4 p.m. In the mayor's conference room. They're going to address our questions, and then if there's other additional questions that the council has, so that we can kind of get all the answers before we make a decision. And then 2 weeks from tonight is the regular voting session, which would be May 22nd, and that would be the night where we would vote on the resolution. So tonight there may be a discussion on it, or if there's any questions when it comes to finance, as well as next week. But a week from tomorrow is the meeting with FEMA that will answer more questions, so we'll be meeting with them on Zoom. Correct?
Yes, we tried to make it as late as possible to accommodate your schedules as well as FEMA. So for the council members, thank you for your feedback on which days that worked. We were able to confirm it this afternoon.
Is the FEMA, is that open to the public to view, I hope, if we're all together, right?
Yes, I'll be issuing a special meeting notice to the city council, open to the public, open to just streaming as well.
Is that mine or yours?
It'll be mine.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I can call it, sign it. All right, you take care of it. Okay, that's it for public comments. So we'll move on to our committee reports. And Kim, if you want to do finance?
Sure. So we had four resolutions, excuse me. The first resolution is resolved that the mayor is authorized to enter into a lease agreement with Jamestown Renaissance Corporation, 200 East 3rd Street, Jamestown, New York, for office space on the 3rd floor of City Hall for a period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, subject to the approval of as to form by the Corporation Council. Just for note, this is no change to the current agreement, and this was passed by Finance. Resolution number 2 is that the mayor is authorized to approve the water service agreement and water and wastewater agreement between the Village of Falconer and the Jamestown Board of Public Utilities pursuant to Section C-54 of the Jamestown City Charter, subject to the approval of the Corporation Council as to form. As I mentioned in Finance, I spoke with Mr. Leathers, and he said if anybody has any specific questions before he comes here, as you read through that back up in your packet, to please reach out to him, and he will be here next week, as Tony had mentioned, to discuss that. But there were none in Finance, and it passed through Finance.
Yeah, he'll be here to discuss and answer questions about this as well as any other concerns. I know the climate smart thing as well. He was going to answer some questions about that, as well as any, he comes periodically, so it was time for him to come back. If you have any other questions about miscellaneous DPU items, he will be here next week to discuss all of those with us.
Resolution number 3, whereas on January 22nd, 2002, Jamestown City Council adopted resolution number 200201C03 that effective immediately until further notice instituted a hiring freeze for the city of Jamestown. Whereas on November 30th, 2006, the Jamestown City Council adopted resolution number 2006-11B17 to extend the freeze to any change in employment from part-time and full-time. And whereas it becomes apparent that within the fire department, in an effort to effectively manage the city's day-to-day responsibilities in a cost-effective manner, it is in the city of Jamestown's best interest to lift the hiring freeze for a certain position. Now therefore be it resolved that effective immediately, the Jamestown City Council hereby suspends the hiring freeze instituted by resolution number 2002-01C03 and authorize the filling of the following positions due to the essential nature of those. 8 full-time firefighters in the Jamestown Fire Department. This is not to fill vacancies within the Jamestown Fire Department. I want to make that clear. That keeps coming up on this, and it's really not. It is just to add additional staff with funding provided through fiscal year 2021 staffing and adequate fire and emergency response safer grant program. We did not discuss this in finance because I felt it was imperative that it be discussed as a group. The only thing I did note is that I haven't seen, I know I asked you, Mayor, for some more financial stuff that you had thrown around, some options and some things, and I didn't see that in our packet, so I'm optimistic that you'll have that for next week.
Sure, if you could just be a little more specific on what you're looking for. I still don't understand. I think
Okay.
we've given all the financials so far to the entire council, but we can follow up afterwards on what are the specific
It was some
ones
of
you're
the new
looking for.
things that you brought, I wanted to just clarification.
Sure, yep. I'll follow up with you afterwards.
Absolutely. And then I think that was all we mentioned in there. And I know many council members have submitted questions for the discussion next week, so it's kind of, sorry, not the update I know some of you are looking for, but still kind of open-ended right now.
Just to do, since there's people here, just a quick, there were 4 basic questions that were asked and that they're compiling it, so I just wanted to get that out there so people know, is that, do we have to hire 8? Is that the magic number that you have to hire? The second question was, can the city reapply for the SAFER grant in 3 years, and what is the likelihood of being approved again? 3, what would the city have to wait a specific period before applying for the grant for the second time? And the other question was, have other SAFER grantees have been approved for a second round of funding, and how soon after the first application were they approved? So those were 4 of the basic questions, and I'm sure that the responses from FEMA will then generate more questions, back and forth dialogue with the council. So I just wanted to make sure that people knew that some of the specifics that were being tossed around and asked, and again, looking at the different ramifications of those. So.
I will add, President Dose, that we did have a conversation with the grant manager, and so she understands that there may be additional questions based on those responses. So, but they just wanted a general understanding of what questions they could try to answer in advance.
I do have one related, it's related but not related. It was actually related to the hiring of the 4 ARPA. Did we get any movement on the ambulance, timing, estimates, anything?
As far as purchasing the vehicle?
Yes.
Yep, we've been doing some shopping. It will go out to bid.
Okay.
What size ambulance was that? Was that a smaller one, or was it a medium-sized ambulance, the new one?
It'll be what's considered a mini mod. It'll be a Type 3. It'll be very similar to the one that we have, where it'll have a box with a cutaway cab. Pretty close in size to what we currently run. The patient treatment area is 150 inches long. That serves us well. We don't really expect to have a larger vehicle to accommodate what we need to do.
Do you have enough room then to store all the equipment for the firefighters if they were called out on a fire call while they're doing the EMS call? I mean, is there enough storage in what you're purchasing?
Yes.
I mean, in other words, firefighters aren't gonna be laying their equipment on the floor in there, they're gonna be able to have adequate storage for their equipment.
There will be.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just asked, I didn't know if we needed to bump it up to a larger size ambulance for their equipment. I've been told in the past that sometimes they've had to kind of lay stuff around because there wasn't enough storage area for their equipment.
Certainly. No, I appreciate your question, and really the size that we have now will, we can certainly relocate some equipment around to try to accommodate any additional items the members wish to carry in there with them. Having a shorter vehicle really helps us to be able to maneuver, especially around the emergency room and in the police garage.
Chief, what's the lead time looking like so far?
It depends on availability. So
Sure.
one of the vendors that we have spoken with feels that they may have something ready for us in 1 to 2 months, possibly. It really just kind of depends on availability of the vehicles. There's still, the general consensus among the industry is about 6 months. Obviously, if we wanted a custom-built vehicle, that could be 1 to 2 years out. We will not be seeking a custom-built vehicle. It'll be very similar to the one that we have.
Just wanted to thank you. That's what I think we talked about that before. I just wanted to point out that the lead times on these are actually better than some of the equipment we purchased with DPW, which is surprising.
Any other questions?
If there are any other questions for FEMA in the meantime, please let us know. If you think of anything between now and the end of the week, just so that we can get those to them in advance. Thank you.
Resolution number 4 is resolved that the mayor is authorized to enter into an extended rental agreement with U.S. Steam Lines LTD, 850 Fairmount Avenue, Jamestown, New York, to lease dock space at McCray Point Dock for the purpose of launching and the return of the Chautauqua Belle for the following time periods. Further resolved, the lease amounts are awarded as follows. May 1st through November 30th, 2024, $400. May 1st through November 30th, 2025, $450. May 1st through November 30th, 2026, $500. May 1st through November 30th, 2027, $550. And May 1st through November 30th, 2028, $600, with an option to renew the lease for 2 additional 5-year terms, subject to the approval of the Corporation Council as to form. That was passed through finance. We did have an item on here for informational and reporting of the pending grants discussion, but we didn't have anything brought to us, so we didn't discuss it.
I just want to make sure it's in your packet.
It was not in the packet that I saw. And that was it out of finance. We did have a need for an executive session, which will be, Elliot will address to the full council, and it was 4 items.
4 items for executive session.
Can I just make a comment about the pending grants, go backwards?
Did you guys get it in the packet? Was it missing? Apologies if it was.
I didn't see it.
I don't see
Okay,
it.
we did provide it, so it may not have gotten it, but we'll make copies right now and give it out to you guys.
Just so everyone in the room is aware, I asked, in the future that this council could be made aware of pending grants. The SAFER grant that's been hotly debated, was not brought to this council. That grant was applied for back last August. Was never brought to this council and spoken to, and wasn't brought to us, until a couple months ago. I think that we would be able to avoid a lot of what's going on right now in the public, if this council was involved back last August and we had open and honest conversations about the grant. I think we would be able to solve a lot of the issues that are going on right now. So I've asked going forward, not only on a firefighter's grant, but any grant, that this council be more involved in what grants are being applied for, so everyone's on the same page, so we don't run into this situation again.
So on that, does it include, did she include like what would be the city's responsibility if it, okay?
Yes,
Yep.
there's a description of each grant, the total amount applied for, and then the local share.
Okay,
Just to clarify for the council, it is only the city's grant applications,
Correct.
not JCC's grant applications. Those you normally get in your quarterly update that has all of the grants that have been applied for. Apologies it wasn't in the packet. Zach is making copies for all of you, and we'll get it out to you.
that was it out of finance.
Okay, very good. Marie, anything from housing tonight?
Thank you, Mr. President. We did have an individual, Mr. Champ, came and spoke to our committee to clarify what the process is for code enforcement, and Director of Development Surdick gave us kind of a rundown how you can file a complaint, either email, phone call, or online. The office manager will then assign the case based on capacity available, the type of case, and to make sure that there's no conflict of interest with the code enforcement officer who's been assigned. The severity of the case will also indicate whether it will be put to the top of the list as a priority, depending on what the violation is. So some are more critical than others, health and safety certainly, and if there are structural issues that could cause harm, they would be put as a priority. Notice of violation is then sent to the property owner. They will have a period of time to mitigate. Usually it's about 10 days notice. The problem that we're having is that when they get to court, there really, are still limits on the number of cases that can be presented each week, and that's 20. And given the time and the duration that the court was not operating, there have been a number of cases that have been pending or building, and so that's created a huge backlog for trying to get these taken care of. The issue of why demolitions aren't occurring as quickly as we would like, I think it's been presented a number of times that now with demolitions, we have to deal with lead and asbestos abatement, and there are only 2 companies in the area that actually deal with this issue, or with these issues, that are certified to do the abatement and then do the demos. So that's also creating somewhat of a backlog. I don't think any of us are happy with the number of homes that have the orange signs, but unfortunately the process cannot be done or accomplished overnight. There are not that many companies that do the demolition, and we're also subject to their availability as to when they can be put on their schedules as well. We did talk about target areas. We are, on the good news side, we are starting interviews to hire 2 more code enforcement officers. However, depending on their training and background, it could take a while before they are able to actually go out and do inspections independently. So in spite of getting people hired, hopefully in a timely manner, it will still be a while before they will be capable of doing the inspections on their own. As to the comment about, I believe we did indicate that we have hired through the police department a nuisance officer to deal with code violations concerning noise and things of that type. I don't know if that's actually happened, if they've been doing anything with that, but we had hoped that they would address some of the issues that sometimes come up with the housing problems. And the last item is that we do have a hands-on neighborhood. It's that time again. May 20th, Saturday from 8 to noon. If you pre-register, you can get a t-shirt with Hands on Jamestown. The cleanup will be downtown, and I believe Councilmember Sheldon asked about the river walk. I think there are some plans down there, but there will be areas assigned. If you want to do your own neighborhood, you can certainly do that and get grouped together. They are in English and Spanish, so if you want, they're, I believe, on the website as well, but I think we have some extras I'll be putting them in the window at my office. But if you can volunteer, it's a great opportunity to meet some other people and clean up the area. It's been going on for at least 5 years now, 4 or 5 years, I believe. I know COVID was a bit of maybe longer, I don't know. It used to be when the college had its graduation and I couldn't do it, so I'm free, and I'll be joining everybody at Tracy Plaza. So that was the meeting.
Okay, that's the 20th.
May 20th, it's a Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon, meeting on Tracy Plaza. They'll have areas, they'll have equipment. If you want to do your own neighborhood, you can come down and get some of the equipment for the cleanup and take it to your neighborhood and bring it back if you have or if you have another area that you particularly want to clean up, you can do that. But the sign up and registration and the main handout will be done at Tracy Plaza. And there may be more to come. This is the kickoff, so there may be more. Right, but there's no schedule yet.
Okay. Yeah. That was kind of. I'll miss it this year. I'm gonna
Last time you and I did it together.
I know. Well, not unfortunately, but fortunately, I'll be attending my son's college graduation, so that's a good thing. I won't be here for that.
That was all we had from the housing.
There we go. Move on to public safety, Brent.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have no resolutions today. We did have several block parties and special event applications that we approved. But we also got a report from the police chief that the quality of life over noise police officer will be starting May 26th. This officer is a veteran JPD officer. He will be working between 5 p.m. and 1 a.m., starting right before Memorial Day, and responding to complaints about loud music, cars, motorcycles, fireworks, etc. Be proactive too, not just responding to complaints, but be driving around the neighborhoods. So we're really excited that this is going to start right before summer really kicks off here. First block party application was for the James Prendergast Library Block Party to be held on Saturday, June 24th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Cherry Street between West 6th and West 7th. This is to dedicate a new patio named in honor of the late Jim Roselli. It was approved. We also approved the block party applications for the Brady Family and Friends Annual Picnic Block Party held Saturday, August 5th from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at 28 Olson Avenue. It's a private party. It had been a special event in the past. We thought that was a little extreme because they're not requesting that the block actually be closed off. So we approved that. For special event applications, we approved the Juneteenth Festival at Jackson Taylor Park to be held on Friday, June 16th through June 18th from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. with the setup on Friday at 6 p.m. Breakdown on Sunday at 9 p.m. That was approved. A new event this year is the Juneteenth Festival at the Winter Garden Plaza, held on Friday, June 16th from 6 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. Set up at noon, breakdown at 10. This is a concert. And we approved that pending receiving insurance. And also, in relation to Juneteenth, they're having a movie event outside the Comedy Center. The Nutty Professor, starring Eddie Murphy, will be held on Monday, June 19th from 5:30 p.m. until 10 p.m. That was approved. Also approved special event application third Thursday at the Winter Garden Plaza. This is an annual music series to be held on May 18th, June 15th, August 17th, and September 21st. We set up at 4 p.m. Music is going to be starting a little earlier this year at 5 p.m. and be shutting down usually by 9 p.m. That was approved. And also a new event this year is Early Bird 2023, a concert at Go Skate Day at the JTNY Powerhouse Skate Park. Be held on Saturday, June 24th from 3 p.m. until 9 p.m. Set up at 11 a.m., breakdown at 10 p.m. This was approved pending receipt of insurance. And that is all we have from public safety today.
Just curious, who picked the Nutty Professor?
I had nothing to do with that. I'm gonna blame it on Travis's wife. Alright.
That's so fun.
What's wrong with the Nutty Professor? Hercules. Sorry.
Any questions from public safety? If not, we'll move on to public works. Randy, have anything?
Thank you, Mr. President. The only resolution we had was for the lease for the Chautauqua Bell, and we approved that also. And we just think it's a good thing for, as far as these amounts, they were fine with us. It's a good thing for people to be able to go down and board that boat and take it up to the lake and back. It was an initiative that was taken a few years back by the previous administration, and that was a good thing. But that's the only resolution we had. There was a concern by Missy Paterniti with school zone safety with traffic and or speeding, and about putting up some crosswalk signs warning people that pedestrians crossing, and they can be done. We have to watch out for the state highways like the arterial She mentioned that she would like one at Prairie there in the arterial, and that has to be approved through the DOT. And that may not happen, but we're gonna look at that. The other one was the intersection at Baker Street and Hazeltine, and Mark informed us that the county is going to do something with that intersection at the county's cost. And exactly what is unknown. Final plans are not released yet, but and so that's going to help a lot with that intersection. Some people creep through the stop sign, and very congested there during school times of going in and coming out. So other than that, that would be about it with our committee.
Randy, has the streets project list for 2023 been approved yet?
No, it's not been approved or set out. And
We had the change in the public works director. Is that part of the delay?
No. We did get it out. We got it on Friday. We should be meeting with Randy this week to go through it, and we'll give it to the council, the initial draft. And we've gone through it. Typically, Mark Schlemmer will drive each of those streets and go through those and then put together the list. I've already asked them to map all of those streets. So we'll probably have it, I would assume, by the end of the week to the council members to review to see if there's any additional changes so that we can get it finalized by next week.
Yeah, I know many of the projects are well underway at this point.
Some of the projects are from last year that just didn't get finished. I mean, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but
A few of them are.
yeah. Yeah.
You'll see some markings and things starting.
another initiative that I've been kind of bird dogging is that some of these manholes that are really low, there's been some public complaints about them, and myself and everybody that they need to be raised up to grade. Now, some of them are BPU, some of them are the DPW, and some of the larger ones, like at Main and the arterial, is the responsibility of Alltel, and they've been notified several times, but they've been lagging on getting it done due to contractors' availability, but it's been quite too long, if you ask me, for that. But and we discussed that, talked to Mark, and we're going to bring some of them up to grade, especially the one that concerns me is on Buffalo Street and Allen. That one's really bad, and I know that fire engines down there really get rattled when they go over that one. So that one, I just want the chief to be aware that I'm definitely going to be on that one. It's bad on suspension on all vehicles, but especially that engine, it really pounds it. So, so that's an initiative that we are going to be looking at, and we're going to, you'll see some raising of the manholes around the city. And that's it.
Okay.
Can I just add one update to that? You'd mentioned, Randy, the school zone areas. There's just an update from the Safe Streets for All. We're just waiting for the final draft contract from the federal government for us to try to move forward with that design phase. So be on the lookout for that, for council.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. Anything else?
I'm gonna regress one quick minute, and ask where these, seasonal rentals for McCray Point came from. Did they come from the vendor, or did we negotiate that, or,
That's a
Chautauqua,
Chautauqua
yeah,
Bell.
but I know, but who came up with those? That seems, I first thought it was monthly, but these are seasonally.
It's a seasonal amount. Yeah, it covers the electric.
Okay.
For the use of that property, and this goes back to 2019. Yeah.
Okay.
2019.
I didn't know where they came from.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It just seems kind of low, but I think part of it is just the.
It's not down here all the time.
No,
It's a
it goes back and forth, and it's, like he said, it provides an opportunity for people to go on it and get back and forth, and it's more of a.
Yeah, we thought it was a little low at first too, until we hashed it out.
Yeah, it's only for a couple months.
It's only for a couple months. It's only here like
6 weeks.
6 weeks in the spring and then maybe 6 in September, October.
Not much.
Yeah.
But it brings people down.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
at Great Point, there are a lot of people that come from
Oh,
out
I
of
mean,
there.
it's a great asset to have. I just wondered where those numbers came from. That's all.
No.
They're actually increased since the original contract.
Anything else before we go to the mayor's report? If not, you're up.
Okay, just a couple updates for folks. In terms of the roads, just so you guys are aware, the last time we announced roads for 2022 was at the beginning of June. So we are working to try to get those done earlier. I'm not going to say it's a new director getting them done early, but the roads will be done. So we'll get those out to council probably next week once we get a chance to take a look through them. Okay. The other update, I did want to just yield a couple minutes to Dan Stone, who's going to talk a little bit about some tree planting that's going to be happening.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight. Appreciate it. As I'm guessing everybody here probably knows, we cut down all the oak trees on West 3rd Street 3 to 4 years ago now. So we're looking to invite you all to come with us next Saturday at 9 o'clock. We're going to be shutting down the road and planting between 32 and 36 trees on the stretch of Hall Avenue to Halleck Street. So we're going to be stationed starting at the Healing Word Ministries Church on the corner of Cook Avenue. After a brief ceremony, we'll let everybody go out and replant West 3rd Street. So please come out and join us. And if you got shovels at home, bring them, because we've only got so many in the Parks Department. So we'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Bring your own shovel. I won't say that often.
We'll dig the holes. You just got to fill the holes back in. We'll dig the holes, we'll set the trees. Right, we're not looking for manual labor through the whole thing. It's going to be different, right, than what 3rd Street was. I mean, it's different now. It's beautiful. Sidewalks are all redone. Lights are hanging, looking nice. So we're going to plant 4 different varieties of trees up there. We're going to go with some different sizes and shapes to give us a little bit more of a flow through that entranceway into the city. We'll be planting columnar Sargent cherry trees. They're the ones you see now with some nice small pink flowers on them. Around the churches and at the B&B breakfast area right there on the corner of Lakin, we'll be planting columnar oaks to keep the oak theme still alive on West 3rd Street. And then we're going to mix in some red maples. Those are ones that will have green leaves throughout the year and then change a red fall color to them. And right at the start, the first block between Hall and Catlin, we'll plant American elm trees. What it should be really nice is in the fall when everything's changing, they'll change about the same time and we'll have a nice red color going right down the street. So.
Bravo to Parks.
Thanks to the BPU for retrofitting the poles that we got in. So hopefully we'll be decorating those at Christmas time. We'll be looking at putting some hardware on there so we can start hanging American flags as well to continue the theme of what we have going in the downtown corridor.
Great, thank you. We're very excited to continue our 42nd year as a Tree City USA, and so adding some additional trees is going to be really great. Although I know that space looks a little different now, but it'll certainly pop as soon as we add those new trees. So.
Dan, are those trees any bigger in size initially? Did you get, or
They're decent sized trees, yeah. Everything we got is bald and burlap, which tends to be a bigger tree. So some of the oaks right now are already 10, 12 feet tall. Mature size is what we're looking at on these. They will not be anywhere near what the red oaks or the pin oaks were that were on 3rd Street. You're looking at a maximum size on any of these from 35 to 40 feet as compared to 80, 85 feet. And those are the more columnar ones. Again, with the biggest spread on that, you're looking at probably 30 feet, which is 15 feet on either side of the tree, instead of close to 100 of what we had spread on some of those oaks.
we won't see him either, that's one.
Dan, the elms are disease resistant, I take it?
Yes, they're a hybrid American elm. We've been planting them in the city now for about 18 years, 19 years. They tend to struggle a little bit the first year. I always joke, I had one planted on Lakeview Avenue in front of Jeff Lehman's house. And the first year, Jeff came to me and said, And you better pick me out a different tree, and so just be patient. It just takes right off. So some of them, it happens with different trees, right? And it also depends on the time of year you put them in the ground too. So if we planted these a couple weeks ago, a month and a half ago, they would already been zapped 3 or 4 times with a frost, and possibly some salt as well. So we're thinking the spring's the best time, give them the summer to go through, and it should turn out really beautiful up there.
Thank you.
Excellent. And if there's a backhoe, Brent will let you drive it for a little bit. It's a really delayed joke. I don't know why. I also want to just let City Council know that, and I mentioned this before, we are working on putting together a municipal buildings bond. There is a need for a new roof on this building as well as a couple other buildings, and then some additional gap financing for the fleet maintenance building. We are working with Jeff and should have, I believe, at the next work session, an overview of the total financials. Jeff has been working diligently with Joe and Jen to get that squared away. We're also applying for, just so you guys are aware, we've received $1 million from the Financial Restructuring Board for that building, and we're in the process of getting that money into our bank account. So just a heads up on that. And so that will be coming next week. We'll present it all to you guys, and we'll ask for additional feedback on it. Okay. And then that is all I have. There was mention of 2 claims and 2 items of litigation for executive session. I believe no action is to be taken at this point.
That was just Elliot's 4.
Yes, that's the 4. Yep, and I think you just mentioned 2. Wanted to specify what those were.
Okay, do I have a motion to go into executive session? So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye.